A heated dispute has erupted between the social media platform X and the government over the blocking of over 2,000 accounts, including those of the international news agency Reuters. Now, X claims the government ordered the blocks on the 3rd of July under the IT Act, demanding compliance within an hour without justification. Now, the move, which temporarily restricted Reuters' main and world accounts in India, did result in lots of reactions, but the government of India has hit right back, with the Electronics and IT Ministry denying issuing any fresh orders and clarifying that it took X 21 hours to unblock Reuters. That's something that they'd urged X to do. But there are tensions, and this is ultimately a debate between the freedom of speech and expression versus, for example, national security and the need for governments across the world, certainly our government, to protect against fake accounts, fake information, and in order to ensure our safety. So that's one big debate that we'll be looking at. Next up on the show anytime now is when we expect the India-US trade deal to be announced. Will it be a mini deal or a massive one? Will India be able to protect the interests of vulnerable groups, for example, farmers, or will too much be conceded to America? At one level, a deal between America and India is win-win, but it's that balance which India would seek which is so very important. But first, our top story: Elon Musk, in a sense, almost going to war against India on X, with X making fairly strident remarks, saying that they were worried about censorship in India. That's an argument that's not going to stick. It's not going to stay over here. We'll be debating that. But first, this story.
A fresh war of words has erupted involving Tesla chief Elon Musk. And this time, it's not with US President Trump, but the Indian government instead. Days after several news agencies' X handles were blocked in India, including Reuters, the Musk-owned social media platform X has hit out against the centre, expressing deep concern about ongoing press censorship in India. X claims the Indian government ordered the social media platform to block 2,355 accounts in the country within an hour, without giving any justification, under Section 69A of the IT Act. Yet, after much public outcry, the government ultimately asked X to unblock Reuters' handles, the Musk-owned social media platform claims. It further stated that given the restrictions by Indian law, X is pursuing legal options. The IT Ministry has clearly denied any orders on withholding the Reuters handle, saying it was working with X to resolve the matter and had demanded that the handle be unblocked as soon as it was blocked. On July 5th, X blocked the handles of Reuters and Reuters World, with a message displayed on their accounts stating that they had been withheld in India in response to a legal demand. This is not the first time X has clashed with the government over the IT Act, which allows the centre to demand the takedown of content from social media platforms if deemed a threat to public order or national security. Last year, the Election Commission ordered certain political posts be withheld ahead of the polls, to which X expressed public outrage. In 2021, X was locked in a standoff with the centre over non-compliance with legal orders to block posts, which it later complied to. India is a crucial growth market for ex-Chief Musk, on the brink of launching other key ventures such as Starlink and Tesla in the country. All eyes are on Musk, and if this latest flashpoint will impact the launch of Starlink, which is in its final stages in India. Disha Bagchi for NDTV.
Well, joining us, Nandan Mishra, co-founder and CEO of Algo8 AI and former member of the National Committee on IT. We're also joined by the cyber law expert Khushbu Jain. Ms. Jain, let me come to you first. Just on the entire issue of Reuters and Reuters World, if the government has now clarified that it's taken X 21 hours to unblock these two sites, and that for whatever the reason was, it may have been a mistake or they've changed their minds, they reached out to X, then it's X's delay, not so much the government of India. Do you accept that argument?
See, one has to have a little bit more clarity because it's a fight between the two people giving statements that they have issued us a statement for taking down that specific platform handle, and at the same time, Government of India very clearly, explicitly stating that we are the one helping out when it comes to bringing back the accounts and are coordinating with the platform to bring that account active. And that's where I think the information with you and me stands. But coming to your argument directly that whether this suffice, I think this should be absolutely okay, and they should not be escalated in a manner the way it has been escalated. But I think the escalation part is not about whether this
Reuters.
account was active or not, but it is to do more with aspect of when it comes to fighting against freedom of speech and expression and the autonomy which social media platform needs to have, and interference when it comes to government putting in such kind of request. And I think it's a fight that has been going on since the day one when it comes to enactment of this platform, to bringing in rules in India, to the way this has been going on. So I think this is a much bigger of a fight utilizing one of the incident. But if you talk about this specific incident, if it has happened and it has come back into the action and government has been helping out, and this has happened, I think this should not be much of an issue.
Nandan Mishra, moving beyond Reuters, because I think what X points to is the larger issue of what they believe may be frivolous requests for takedowns. And I found the statement to be particularly strident. Let me quote: "We are deeply concerned about ongoing press censorship in India due to these blocking orders. X is exploring all legal options. Unlike users located in India, X is restricted by Indian law in its ability to bring legal challenges against these executive orders. We urge affected users to pursue legal remedies through the courts." They're basically telling people, go to court, fight against what they see to be censorship, press censorship in India. They've been to court before. How do you look at these remarks of X, in their battle against India?
I think Elon's just substantiating his claim to be a free speech absolutist, and he's been doing that since a while now. And I think, as far as of course, advocating for more transparency around takedown orders could be one of the major ways, but that's now how you advocate change. You cannot simply ask people to go and start suing the government on that and or the accounts, because I think it's a law, it's an IT act, it's one of the sections of the IT Act, and there are very clear SOPs. I think what has happened is that there is a technical error either on the bulk processing order or maybe on the algorithm match. It happens. And that's why it took them 21 hours to take it back as well, because they must be doing the back end, they must be taking care of certain things, and they must have also taken care of certain legal aspects and legal escalation loops. That's why it took them some time to get back. But I don't think that the recourse that they are asking to make is a constructive one. And I think Elon has been at it with different governments. And I think you just think of it. Had it been X has blocked Reuters or India has asked X to block Reuters, what sounds better? So it's quite convenient for X to say that Indian government asked them to block Reuters. Because if they say that even accidentally they blocked Reuters, what would it mean for them?
Yeah.
They will have all the global watchdogs on them. So I think it's just a convenient take by X. It is. See, the process of flagging a takedown and transparency around it and what the platform does on it can be brought into transparency, and discretion should be reduced out of it. That is definitely. But what X is saying is simply a convenient way of just parking the buck. That's what
X has been saying again in this tweet on tweets being taken down is the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is demanding immediate action within 1 hour without providing justification and require accounts to remain blocked until further notice. To what extent is the government of India, from a legal standpoint, obliged to provide an explanation or justification to X on why they want a site to be taken down?
See, one has to understand the basis here. The basis is that all of us, you, me, all the citizens of India, have been guaranteed freedom of speech and expression under the Constitution. Now, this freedom of speech and expression is something which has not an absolute right. It is curtailed in certain scenarios. Now, those scenarios can be national security, sovereignty, public order, and so on and so forth. Now, in these scenarios, if, and the IT rules which have come up, if there have been incidents like this, the government is bound to act upon it. Right. And if these platforms are utilized for creating misinformation or disinformation which can get into warfare or amplify anything or can hurt the security of the nation, then the nation has to act promptly and request that certain action has to be done on an immediate basis. I don't think so any of the nation would not agree about it. Now take it the other way around. Let's say a scenario like you and me, something has happened, and if these scenarios, action is not being taken by the government, should we not hold hold responsible to the government that you have not taken care when it comes to making sure that all the laws which are there are being implemented in a manner that it should be implemented, or you're not governing the country, and there has been coming a state of lawlessness. I'll give you one more example to this. Now, this is not the first time since the enactment of constitution, or since
Yes.
we have been the country. There have been scenarios like this where there is a public gathering and riots have come up, or some emergency situations have come up, and these rights have been curtailed by the government following due process, and that was done on an immediate basis. It is a requirement. Now, to wait or to do something else on that might create a situation which can amplify the situation which is there, and acting upon it by leaving some time in between can have a detrimental impact. The same thing is happening on social media today. These platforms are acting as the same thing now, and they are acting in a
Yes.
much larger scale. So if you'll see the kind of impact the social media platform has it on individuals, or it can have it when it comes to public order, or when it comes to spreading of misinformation in a situation like a warfare, or in a situation which has a public order situation, or when it comes to security of nation.
The larger question, which we'll keep debating, I need to move on to some breaking news coming in, is on what constitutes a frivolous takedown. The fact is, we'll never really know. In most cases, why the government has decided to do what it has. We can only trust the government. And I think those who criticize the move or support X in its move would suggest that we need more details on what exactly you're taking down. Your political opponents shouldn't perhaps be taken down. Artists shouldn't necessarily be taken down. Journalists who disagree, show truth to power, this, that, and the other, shouldn't perhaps be taken down. But ultimately, it is the government that takes the call. So it's something which I suggest that we'll keep debating for a period of time. We'll leave it there.